What's going on, guys? Mr. Acolyte here, and today it is tier list time. Now that we've had a lot of time with the current version of the game, a lot of time to lab, play a lot of matches, and even see a lot of tournament footage, I felt like now would be a good time to sort of do a tier list, just for fun, kind of give my thoughts on where all the characters are. We'll be going through the whole cast, so that means there's a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any time and jump right on into it. Okay, so since this version of the game is so incredibly balanced, in my opinion, there's pretty much only about 3 tiers due to the fact of every character being so close in strength now. So flawless characters with little to no flaws, incredibly strong characters who may have flaws but their strengths are so incredible that it doesn't really matter, and then strong characters who are good but do have some notable flaws. The plan is to do sort of a rapid fire system. We'll just go character by character and then bring up some notable points about each one of them. That way this video doesn't end up being super long. So with all that said, let's get started. Android 16, very strong anti-zoning tools, very strong up close pressure. He can mix up his staggers very well, switching between his buttons. He has his own plus move. He has a 16 frame command grab. He also has a very great assist spread, especially his B assist is incredibly strong. So I will be putting him in the incredibly strong category. Android 17, some of the highest meter build in the game, one of the most sought after assists in the game, very great defensive actions overall. It's very hard to super dash at him or raw tag or even guard cancel. He also has very good Rekka pressure. It's all around very solid character, definitely going to put him right there in incredibly strong. Android 18, incredible defensive options, some of the best in the game. The fact that she can do double barrier now makes her very tough to deal with, on top of the fact that she is a mix machine, especially when she starts getting going with 17. Her Oki is ridiculous, her post level 3 is ridiculous, meter build is off the charts. This is definitely a character I gotta put in the flawless category. Majin 21, absolutely incredible neutral. Her fireballs fill up the whole screen, as well as eating through most other fireballs in the game. She has her anti-air beam, which is very hard to deal with, covers one of the best angles in the game, as well as having a normal beam property move as well. She has incredibly huge buttons, which lead to her having great staggers and just generally great pressure in general, on top of having a command grab on top of all of that. And on top of all of that, she also has the move steals, which give her insane properties that you have to keep up with. This is another character that I would place in the flawless category. Bardock. Bardock is the quintessential neutral character. His neutral is amazing. He's got really good saggers and really good assist spread. His only problem is he doesn't really do many things better than most of the cast, which is why I would put him in strong. Beers, not even going to pretend with this one. We all know that he is in talks of being top 1 in this version of the game. Incredible zoning, incredible pressure, incredible anti-zoning, incredible damage, quite possibly the best assist in the game. His level 3 gets him out of pressure. His 2M slides through projectiles and assists. His 5H destroys projectiles and assists. He's just an absolute menace, and pretty much no one will disagree with him being by far one of the best characters in the entire game. Super Buddy. This character is a literal damage machine. In general in this game, a lot of characters do a lot of damage, but his damage is absurdly high, especially after he activates his install. He also has very good Oki and very strong staggers, also a very good assist. However, he does have some pretty lackluster neutral, and his pressure is very heavily stagger based, so I would say that he is on the higher end of the strong category. Z Bully, best anti-zoning in the game by far. The bubble negates everything. His 5S is still very pesky. The buffs to the freight train are actually pretty ridiculous. It's crazy just how much he can just fly through basically anything at neutral, even your assists, key blast, beams, whatever, and then make himself safe with an assist. And then on top of all that, he has the grab pressure that you have to worry about, And with his new routes giving a lot more damage, this character is, without a doubt, incredibly strong. Captain Ginyu, my buddy. Absolutely insane neutral. The Ginyu Force members are better than they've ever been, especially since you could delay them now. His Oki always has been and always will be among the best in the game. His pressure in general is just basically relentless. He can just stay on top of you for so long. Meter build is very, very high. Damage is very, very high. His only major problem right now is that he's still glitched. At this point, I'm starting to get worried that it'll never be fixed. But even with the glitch, I would still say he is incredibly strong. Cell, perfect attack, perfect attack, perfect attack. That move is absolutely busted. It just breaks every part of the game. The fact that it is a frame 4 invul move that TODs and is 100% safe on block. Not only is it safe on block, but it actually leads to mix-ups. It is by far one of the most broken moves the game has ever seen. Outside of that, he also has incredible staggers, very, very high damage, very, very high corner carry, very, very high meter build, all that good stuff. Level 3 mix in the corner is insane. Cell as someone I would definitely classify as flawless. Cooler. This character has seen a lot of great buffs over the years. As it stands right now, he's got very good anti-zoning, especially with his 3H. He also has access to a DP, which is a very, very great defensive option. He has access to overheads as well. His new routes give him a lot more utility to be able to do a lot more damage. His stagger game has always been good. He has a lot of lows. Add in the fact that he has a very nice and balanced assist spread. I would say he belongs in the incredibly strong category. Frieza. This is the patch where Frieza finally made it. He finally became a real zoner. Literally the best thing about Frieza is his zoning. With the buff that he got to his slow orb, being able to have the orb just take up so much space is incredibly powerful. It makes all his other zoning tools ridiculous. If you don't want to zone, or if you want to put some big damage out there, put some mix out there, he does have his golden form. All in all, he's just a fantastic character. His only problem now is that he does have some pretty bad matchups, but if his bad matchups are not around, he is definitely a very difficult character for a lot of the cast to deal with. Gogeta Blue. Despite being nerfed several times, he still has a lot of good stuff about him. He still is a two-touch machine as long as you have enough meter built up. Still an absolute powerhouse character, still sets up active tag incredibly well, and of course he still has his trademark mix-ups. He is a very, very difficult character to block once he gets in. It's not that hard for him to get in. He also has a pretty decent command grab that you can sneak in there too. When he gets in, it really counts, so I would still place him in the incredibly strong category. Adult Gohan, what can you say about him? He's all about the level ups, and as we all know, the more he levels up, the more broken he becomes. Once you get to level 7, it's basically a win condition. His assist spread is insane, especially his uppercut assist, which has like plus 80 hit stun. He's just all around a ridiculous character. Basically flawless. I mean, the only thing you could even argue is that he needs level ups, but once he gets his level ups, he is, again, pretty much unstoppable. Teen Gohan. This is a character who has always been good, but he actually got buffed in the most recent patch. He has incredible neutral, grounded ki blast, angled ki blast. He has his rocket kick. His rocket kick gives him mix now. His routes do insane damage on top of having access to one of the most powerful level 1s and a level 5. And his routes actually got a little bit easier because of the changes to his buttons. So I would definitely put him up here in the flawless category. Goku Black. I would say, much like Frieza, Goku Black has finally found his footing with all the buffs that he's received. He has absolutely amazing neutral. It's really hard to contest his ki blasts. He does have access to a beam. His God Slicer, being an anti-air, makes it very, very hard to do almost anything. His teleports are also very strong in pretty much every aspect of the game, whether it's at neutral, on wake up, or on block. His new teleports actually give him more mix-up opportunities now that he can teleport and stay grounded for true mix, and they sped up his grab. His grab is actually pretty darn fast, coming in at 25 frames. So I would definitely say that Goku Black is incredibly strong in this version of the game. GT Goku. This is another very infamous character for this version of the game. You pretty much already know what's going to happen with him. GT, they gave him back his LL, so his stagger game and just general buttons are absolutely ridiculous now. He's got such insane stagger pressure, especially because he has an extra low that most characters don't have. And of course he has the reverse Kamehameha, which is just basically fully invul and just flies through everything. This character is basically a menace, and that has earned him a spot in the flawless category. Goku Blue, one of the most tried and true point characters around. He has amazing buttons. His buttons are very hard to contest, especially at round start. He even has buttons that go through Ki Blast now. He has other moves that help him get around zoning, such as his teleport elbow. His pressure is very, very strong. It's very, very hard to block him. Lots of lows, an underactable command grab. And of course, when he hits you, he absolutely deletes your health bar. To put that all together, and I feel he belongs near the top of the incredibly strong category. SSJ, yet another character who has seen a lot of great changes. The changes to beams in general helped him out a lot. The fact that this game is based so heavily on neutral and beam neutral so strong has made him fantastic since his beam is so fast. He also has insane buttons. He can reach from just about anywhere. And his stagger pressure is crazy because he has his own overhead invincible plus move that lets him just reset pressure or get on your block whenever he wants. So put that all together and I feel he is very comfortably in the incredibly strong category. UI Goku, absolutely amazing defense, some of the best defensive tools in the game. Not to mention he has a lot of strong anti-zoning as well, especially with his 6H and his flips. He has access to his own plus move, but he doesn't have the best staggers around. However, just due to the strength of his defensive tools and the fact that he's hard to even safe jump or zone at all, I do think that earns him a spot in incredibly strong. Base Goku, hands down one of the best assist spreads in the game. All three of his assists are absolutely fantastic. Kaioken, that's pretty much all I have to say right there. Unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that Kaioken is just a death sentence if he is in limit break. And then the buff to his Spirit Bomb also gave him a lot of team utility. He used to be a character that was locked behind only certain teams because he could not combo into his level 3, but now that he can combo into it with just about anybody, I feel that he belongs definitely in the incredibly strong category. Gotenks. We all knew it was going to happen. He was bugged for quite a while, but once they removed the bug, they basically took the weights off of him. His pressure is absolutely insane from the fact that he can cancel his special moves on block into a variety of different special moves. He can now do 4 special moves before setting up active tag, which means he can just build tons and tons and tons of meter for your team. On top of doing insane damage, he can basically kill from a beam conversion. Ghost Oki is still absolutely insane. It's very hard to get away from it or get out of it at all. His assists are fantastic. It is very easy to see that he is basically a perfect character and definitely in the talks of being one of the #1. Hit. This is a character who has proven his strength time and time again. His anti-zoning is fantastic with his many counters and his tides of time, as well as his strong pressure tools. He's basically unreflectable. It can be hard to block if you decide to duck. You basically have to stay standing. He also has very good left-right situations. And of course, he has fantastic assists, especially people love his A and C for their invincibility frames. So it's pretty easy to say that Hit is definitely an incredibly strong character. Janemba. What does Janemba not do? His neutral is fantastic. His zoning is very, very hard to deal with. And on top of that, he is one of the best anti-zoners. So he can zone and anti-zone, basically shutting you out almost completely. And when he actually gets on top of you, his pressure is very scary, especially now that he has a strong low option that you have to worry about. And of course, you have to worry about his command grab. And he has level 3 mix in the corner. I would honestly put him in flawless if he was not meter penalized, but due to the fact that he does have the meter penalty, I will put him at the top of incredibly strong. Jiden. What needs to be said about this guy? Absolutely relentless pressure. His staggers go on forever. He actually has mix now that they sped up his 2M. His neutral is phenomenal. He literally has a beam style move that is immune to ki blasts. Of course, he has plenty of defensive options with his counters, as well as anti-zoning tools, his projectile counters. So basically, he is a character that does everything: absolute neutral, absolute pressure, absolute defense. With all of those things under his belt, on top of being one of the biggest damage dealers in the game, it is easy to place him in the flawless category. Kefla, now that she can super dash cancel a few of her special moves, she has access to mix-ups that she never had before. She basically gets 50-50s just about anywhere as long as you have an assist. Add in the fact that she has fantastic neutral, fantastic pressure. She's basically unreflectable and unguard cancelable. She has anti-zoning with her teleports, an unescapable level 3, very, very strong assists. Put it all together, and she is definitely one that deserves to be in the flawless category. Kid Buu. This is a character who has seen a lot of ups and downs across the lifetime of the game. With his new Ki Blast, he can play neutral even better than before, and it does give him a little bit more mix. He's also got his staircase combo, so he builds a good amount of meter. His level 1 also sets up characters for mix. However, one of his biggest strengths was his arm ball, and with the way guard cancel works now, it doesn't really work the way it did before. And as good as his buttons are, they are sort of a commitment. All around, I do think Kid Buu is pretty good, so I'm going to put him at the top of the strong category. Krillin. This is another character that was already eating incredibly well in this game. Some of the best zoning and some of the best defensive options, but they went ahead and buffed him. So now with his new buffs, he is very similar to GT Goku in the fact that he can basically ignore neutral and ignore pressure with his after image. After image is so invul that you can fly straight through anything. And not only that, it is invul and it works as a mix-up. So you can no longer just try to hit buttons when you think they're going to do after image. You have to respect it. So his mix-up game has gone up extensively, not to mention his level 3 mix-up is very, very powerful. Meter build is very, very high. It's generally very hard to get in on him. He has the rock assist as well as the beam assist, and solar flare is a frame 1 anti-air, and it's only -2 on block, which means it's very, very plus if they block it out of the air. So Krillin is 100% a character with little to no flaws and every strength you could possibly want. Majin Buu. This is a character with very great pressure, very, very strong mix-ups. His neutral's not too bad. He's also got some very, very good buttons. His biggest weakness, however, is that he does not get along with a lot of the cast. He needs very specific characters to set his resets up properly, so that makes his team building a little limited, as well as his assists are not the best. So I think he belongs in the strong category. Roshi. While being one of the least played characters in the game, don't let that fool you. Roshi has basically almost nothing but strengths. His biggest weakness is that he's just weird to play. He doesn't have a super dash, but that also ends up being a strength. His unique movement makes it to where he can stall players out very, very well. His pressure is also very scary. He has very good buttons for staggers, as well as having a command grab. Even though it's a little on the slow side, he still has it. His left rights are very good. His high lows are very good, and he hits like a truck. He's one of the most damaging characters in the game. If you ever get 2H'd by him, you're probably dead. I believe Roshi fits very comfortably in the incredibly strong category. Nappa. Pretty much everybody knows what the deal is with Nappa. His neutral's not so good, but those Cybermen. They buffed the Cyberman once again. Keep in mind the Cybermen can already be completely projectile and assist invul, but now if a Cyberman hits you, it auto-converts into a combo or a reset. So now Nappa's entire game is better than it's ever been. He is more deadly than he's ever been. His only weakness is his neutral, so I would say he definitely belongs in incredibly strong. Piccolo. Piccolo is an interesting case because everything about him is very, very good. He's got amazing buttons. Of course, he's got his Hell Zone. Of course, he's got his A assist. Very, very big damage. Demon Elbow can be very, very hard to block. Great staggers, generally great buttons. He's got a lot of good stuff going on for him, but one of his biggest weaknesses is just his neutral. And in this game, neutral is more important than it's ever been before. This is pretty much the neutral era of the game, so not having any sort of ki blast is just very, very tough for him. So I feel like he can only be in the strong category. That's not to say that he's not good, it's just with Piccolo, if you pick him, you're definitely gonna have to work a little harder. Super Baby 2. As everyone knows, his zoning is absolutely ridiculous, but they actually buffed it. His zoning got a little bit stronger due to the fact that his ki blasts are faster now. Add in the fact that they also buffed his buttons. He finally has a low, so he can actually mix people up by himself or with assists. They also greatly buffed his damage potential now that he can super dash confirm off of his beam from anywhere on screen. His meter build is among the highest in the game. Assist steal is absolutely broken. He's overall just a completely self-sustained character that does a little bit of everything, so it's very easy to say that he belongs up here in Flawless. Tenshinhan. We all know what he does, we all know what he's about. He is the physical embodiment of damage in this game. He is also Armor Man. He has some of the best armor / guard point moves in the entire game. He is completely and utterly unblockable due to having a good armored command grab and an unreactable chop, and you'd basically die if you get hit by either one. But if all that weren't enough, he has a fantastic assist spread. But if all that wasn't enough, they actually buffed Chaozu, so now he can do Chaozu cancel, so that means he has his own built-in assist whenever he wants it. You're no longer limited to just 2 Chaozu calls before it becomes useless. You can use Chaozu whenever you want, so this extremely scary character now has his own built-in support. I feel with all that in mind, it definitely puts him into Flawless. Trunks, one of the most requested characters for buffs throughout the lifetime of this game, and I'm happy to say I feel he finally got the buffs that he needed. He has absolutely amazing neutral, really, really great pressure. He can be unblockable if your execution is high enough. His assist spread is fantastic. They actually made his level 2 pretty good. And most importantly, he is no longer super ultra dependent on meter. He can do a lot more without having to spend meter just to extend combos. With all the buffs you received, I am happy to say that I would consider him incredibly strong, finally. Blue Vegeta. This is another one I feel we don't need to cover for too long. He's another one in the talks of being best character in the game. His neutral is absolutely absurd. His damage output due to his special move cancels is absolutely broken. He can travel instantly full screen with his EX kicks, which also leads to mix-ups. And of course, his armored grab that travels through everything and just grabs you out of whatever you're doing. No need to go any further than that. He's clearly a flawless character. SSJ Vegeta, one of the characters that used to be the most in need of buffs, has finally found his place in the game as one of its premier zoners due to his rapid fire barrage now being cancelable on whiff. He basically can do rapid fire barrage on the ground or in the air, and the opponent just has to deal with it. Add in the fact that that move builds a ton of meter and he can now combo with it. He's also one of the best meter builders in the game, along with actually having a little bit of mix-up potential in the game now, and one of the best assist spreads there is. It's pretty easy to place him into incredibly strong. Base Vegeta. After a lot of the other point characters got shot, he kind of took his place back as one of the favorites for good, reliable point characters who don't have meter penalty. He still has fantastic neutral, very, very good buttons, great mix-ups, a great assist spread. They actually gave him a level 4, so he does even more damage than before. With all of that under consideration, I would say that he's a pretty easy character to fit into incredibly strong. Vegito. What can you say about Vegito? He's always going to have those buttons. He's always going to have that very chaotic neutral. He's always going to have the sword. He's got his reverse beats. The only thing that he has going against him now is the fact that he is meter penalized and they shot his A assist, but his strengths are still what they are. He's still an incredibly powerful character, so I think I would fit him around here in incredibly strong. Videl. Videl is another one who has just been buffed and buffed and buffed constantly. He has become one of the hardest characters in the entire game to block. Not to mention she has a fantastic assist spread. Her invincible C assist is very, very good. Her B assist leads to mix, and her A is a great lariat. She also has fantastic neutral, very good zoning, very good Oki, so overall very good pressure in general. Also very good meter build and damage due to her loops. This is a character that I'm very happy to see in the incredibly strong category. Yamcha. This is a character that got some great buffs in the last patch. He is very close to being unblockable when he's close to you. He's got fantastic buttons. Wolfang pressure has never been as good as it is now. He's very, very good at baiting spark. Does very good damage now. He's got a great assist spread. His only main problem is that his neutral is pretty lackluster, so he's got to really get in on you to get those mix-ups going. So I would put him near the top of the strong category. I don't think he's bad. He just has to work a little bit harder. But once he gets in, he is very, very scary. Zamasu, my buddy Zamasu. Right out the gate, pretty much the only bad thing I can say about him is that he does have meter penalty, so his point position days are pretty much over. If he's on point, it's very, very hard for him to secure the kill. But outside of that, he's just fantastic in every avenue. Damage through the roof, buttons are fantastic, flight mode negates so much. His A assist is very, very, very good. His Oki is very, very good. His general pressure is very, very good. Fantastic character. I would definitely label him as incredibly strong. Gogeta 4, also known as the Stagger Machine. They went ahead and buffed his staggers to the moon. He can put his jab on you basically forever. He has fuzzy mix-ups due to the fact that he has the double air dash. Double air dash also helps him get in. He also has the gut punch to ignore assists and beams. The only thing I would say about him is his assists are pretty lackluster, but outside of that, he is a very scary character, and I would definitely rate him as incredibly strong. And last but not least, Lab Coat. So this is a tough one because Lab Coat is a character with several flaws now. She has lots of flaws. She is 50% meter penalized. Her spin is now a key blast, and she has no good assists. All of her assists are varying degrees of either okay or just flat out bad. But in her defense, she has amazing pressure still. She's one of the hardest characters to block, basically unblockable. She still has the debuff being one of the strongest tools in the game, and she still has good defensive tools in the spin. Even though the spin isn't good on offense, it's still fantastic on defense. She does have a lot of negatives that you have to play around, but still when you put her on the screen, she is still pretty darn menacing. And that's gonna bring us to the end of the list. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Be sure to let me know what you think of the list down in the comments below. I love to hear from you guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, or if you want to see me do more tier lists in the future. If you're looking to level up, don't forget to check out my guide section. And as always, you guys have a good one, and I will see you in the next one. Ace.